I'm speaking with the president of the AVN, Australian Vaccination Network, Meryl Dorey. Meryl, are your critics happy to debate you face to face? Because they sound pretty passionate about their opinion as well. And for them to be able to dispel your statements and beliefs once and for all, has this ever happened? And if so, what was the outcome?
David, I have asked for this for 3 years now, and I've asked for over 15 years to have someone from the medical community come out and debate me. Most recently, I challenged the head of the AMA to a fight, and he refused. Members of Stop the AVN and the Australian Skeptics, who are the critics of the AVN, have refused to do a public debate. They've said that if they come in public to debate me, and I have, offered them, you can choose the moderator, you can choose the venue, we will each have equal time, we can have the questions given in advance so that all of your references there. I just can't see how I could be more fair than this. And they have said that they refuse to debate me because they feel that I will, and I've never heard this term before, gish gallop them. And gish gallop basically means I will have so many facts and figures at my fingertips that they can't possibly debate me. And what that means is that they don't have the information. Because if I, as simply a parent who's been researching this issue for 20 years, can defeat immunologists and doctors and GPs and, public health officials in a public debate, what does that say about their information?
Well, I ask you at this point then, if they won't debate you, what do you feel they have to lose?
Well, there's several things. First of all, there is an awful lot of money involved in vaccination. Whether a GP or an immunologist or someone who works in the health field, and many of these people who are with Stop the AVN and the Australian Skeptics are health professionals. So they have their career to lose. So much of Western medicine is based on the vaccination theory. If the vaccination theory turns out to not be fact, then they're looking at losing their careers. That's one thing. There's also just their ego, and a lot of these people have an awful lot of ego invested in this issue and being right on this issue, and they don't want to lose that. But a lot of them are just actually really sure that they're right, and any information that might show not correct in their beliefs, they don't want to accept, they don't want to look at. They have their belief system down pat, and they don't want that challenged. By refusing to debate me or anyone else on this issue, and I'm having 2 seminars next week in Byron Bay and in Lismore in northern New South Wales, and I wrote invitations to the head of the public health unit, to the head of the Medicare local, and to a local pediatrician who is very outspoken on this issue and constantly appears on television and in newspapers, asking if they would come, not debate me, but just to provide the balance for the people who are at the seminar. And I've said again that they can have, their time on stage, they can name their own moderator, they can be there at question time. I just want to make sure that people who come to the seminar will be able to hear all of the information. And they would not do it. They would not do it at all. And to me, that's very telling that they're out there pushing vaccination and saying everyone must vaccinate, and yet they won't defend their information when they're given an opportunity to let the parents see both sides of the story.
Meryl, what is a conscientious objector form, and do doctors have to sign them?
Okay. Now, in 1998, we went down to Canberra to lobby to make sure that vaccination was not made compulsory, because that was the plan at that point. And we got the conscientious objector clause put through. And what that means is that any parent who does not want to vaccinate their child can fill in this conscientious objector form and submit it to the Health Insurance Commission, and they will not lose any government financial entitlements. The government's actually lying to parents because they've said that if they don't vaccinate their children, they will lose out on the $2,100 Family Tax Benefits Supplement Part A, and that's not true because all they have to do is register as a conscientious objector. As far as whether or not a doctor has to sign it, we've had many doctors refuse to sign this form, which goes against what we did when we went to Canberra. The actual reason that we went to Canberra was to make sure that people would be able to get these forms signed. Dr. Lilienthal wrote an article in the Medical Journal of Australia saying that doctors are required to sign the form. The Australian Medical Association came out afterwards and said that doctors don't have to sign the form. And we are currently fundraising to try and get a QC to give us a written opinion on the law as to whether or not doctors do have to sign it, because we believe that they should have to sign it. They're not signing the form to say that they agree or disagree with your decision. They're simply signing the form to say that they have fulfilled their obligation under the law to counsel you on the benefits and risks of vaccination as they see them. So to me, there doesn't seem to be any out for them. But again, we're trying to raise money. It's probably going to cost about $5,000 to get this written opinion so that people can know for once and for all whether or not the doctor must sign the form. In the meantime, we have a buddy system set up where if someone wants to go to the doctor and is nervous about it, or if they're having trouble finding a doctor to sign the form, we have people in many areas across New South Wales and Australia who are willing to go along with them and who have a lot of information on this issue to support them in getting their form signed.
What's some of the important information that people can access on the AVN website?
Well, the most important things that parents need to know when they're trying to make this decision is, are the vaccines safe? Are they effective? And is my child at extra risk of having a serious reaction because of a family history or some sort of susceptibility? So we urge people to look at the package inserts for the vaccines, and we have links to those on our website, and also to understand what the diseases are and how dangerous they actually are. For instance, chickenpox, measles, mumps, and rubella were never considered dangerous diseases of childhood, and the death rate from all of those diseases were virtually non-existent before the vaccines came in. So know your diseases, know the vaccines, know what's in the vaccines, and know your particular child's risk of a side effect, and also know how effective they are, because we're in the 5th year of the largest whooping cough outbreak we've ever had, and that's despite the highest level of whooping cough vaccination we've ever had. 84% of the people who are getting whooping cough are finding that it's caused by a bacteria that's not contained in the vaccine, and most of the people who are getting the disease are fully vaccinated against it. This sort of information is not in the mainstream media. Mainstream media does not cover this issue well, but parents need to make sure that they have this information before they make a decision. You will do a lot of research before you buy a car or a refrigerator, so why wouldn't you do the same amount of research for something that is going to be targeting your child at their health?
I'd like to know, in all of your time, 20 years you said, of doing research on vaccination, members of the medical profession that you've dealt with along the way, have you found some that have actually come across to your way of thinking?
There are many doctors who question vaccination and question much of mainstream medicine. Ultimately, men will not come forward publicly because they are threatened with loss of license if they do. There is an organization called ACNIM, the Australian College of Nutritional and Environmental Medicine. All the doctors there believe strongly in informed choice when it comes to vaccination. It's very difficult because doctors are under such threat by their organizations like the AMA, step out of line and do something that's, that the AMA does not support or does not believe in, that they will suffer for it. So it's very hard to find doctors who will become public on this issue, but it is not at all unusual for doctors not to vaccinate their own children. And the doctor who vaccinated my son, who was injured by the vaccine, I found out later hadn't vaccinated his own kids.
Meryl Dorey, President of the AVN, Australian Vaccination Network, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.